It's always the worst part, is you can't really get shit set up the way you want it until you start your video. Yeah, I like that. Should look good. Dog is snoring away. There. Hopefully this goes all right. We'll find out though, right? Watch a commercial. Man, he snores. Holy cow, does he snore. Did it show up on your phone? Morning, how are you doing? Welcome to the Sunday Gunday Live. Oh, so don't really have much going on today. Just make sure we keep them watch hours up. But how are you doing? Tap in and say what's up. Don't be shy. Definitely don't be shy. So what are you doing on a fine winter Sunday at noon? So we ain't got shit going on. Got some pretty good selection of guns out. I have one of my favorite guns out, which is my M1A. I really like that gun. So, what do you guys like for firearms? Had a night match last night, a wintry night match. Shooting in the dark with a flashlight in ice and snow. Fantastic. Nothing could go wrong. But it was a successful match. No injuries, no falls. Nobody got shot. So overall, it was a good time. You guys tap in, say hi, man. Be sure to double tap that screen for me. If you like firearms, want to chat about firearms, use your comment section. But I appreciate everybody that's jumping in here and saying hi, or jumping into the live. So, common question we'll answer first. Are all of them real? They are all 100% real. Random, how are you doing? Yep, firearms. CZ Checkmate and 22 long rifle, how much? They're 9mm major, and yeah, the two on the very bottom are both long rifles. One was 7, and the other one was a sponsored gun, but it would be probably around 1,000. Enoch, how are you doing, man? Thanks for tapping in. I appreciate that. It's kind of weird when you're just sitting here and talking and nobody taps in. Faye Salamarzi, I'm saying your name wrong, man. But hey, man, how are you doing? How's your day going? Hope hope you guys are all having a great day. Be sure to double tap that screen for me. The checkmates. Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm tired and sore. Uh, had a lot of shit going on yesterday, but tired and sore. The checkmates too. They sell them for 29 a piece. Um, the one on the right's, or I'm sorry, the one on the left has had some work done to it, so not a lot. It's a checkmate. They don't need much. So kind of buy them. You know, anytime you buy a quality firearm, they're not cheap. You know, but you're paying for the gun to be ready. You know, you buy what's the most expensive on the table? Probably the checkmate. So there's a lot of stuff up there in that $2,200 range. Um, yeah, that would be the most expensive is the checkmates, and there's two of them up there. The TSO2s are 22 and change a piece. There's a couple of them up there. There's a Dan Wesson up there that was 22. Um, yeah, that TSO1 them are 18. Um, so there's I don't know. Here, calculator. We can figure out how much is up there. That's always a comment of how much is up there.
And you ready?
What I say, nine. Let's call it a grand.
Okay.
Which would you recommend? It depends on what you're going to use it for. If it's just a range toy, it may be a daily carry, shadow system, a Glock, CZP10 or PO9. Um, I'm not really a Canic fan, but if you're going to get into competition, depending on what type of competition, a Shadow 2, a Tactical Sport Orange 2, Dan Wesson for beginning daily carry, probably a Glock 19. Or a Glock 26 or a Glock 43X. You know, kind of lame and plain Jane, but they're great carry guns. All the Smith and Wesson guns are good too. So I carry a Gen 5 Glock 26. So it's a great gun. It does everything you want it to do. Okay, you know, it's not exceptional accuracy. It's not, you know, the smallest gun out there, but they're 100% reliable. They're accurate enough for a service gun. You can go to the range and practice with it and have fun. You know, so that's my usual go-to. You know, a lot of people like that have gotten into carrying guns in the last. Yeah, I don't hear the best from Glock. Glock's a good service gun. It's what most service guns are compared to. Um, uh, Red Bubba, why do you like the 1911 platform? Well, there's no 1911s up there. Zero. I do like 1911s. I don't shoot them very often. The closest thing to a 1911 or 2011 would be that Dan Wesson DWX. Yeah, Glock's it's a good service gun. You know, they fell behind a little bit in some of the features people want, but for an everyday personal defense weapon, it's hard to beat. Are those CZs? They're not all CZs, but there's quite a few up there. Like in the very top underneath the rifle is a Gerson. There's looks like a couple 43Xs, some Glocks, a shadow system. The Ruger's on the bottom. There's two Ruger's on the bottom. So, what's your favorite gun? It depends what I'm doing with it. So, like when we shoot USPSA and Hit Factor, my favorite gun for that's the Checkmates. It's a phenomenal competition gun. My favorite handgun just to go and play with, like I can go to the range and just have fun shooting paper targets or whatever else. I like the Tactical Sport Orange 2. For IDPA competition, I shoot my SPO1. Um, like my M1A up there is one of my funnest, most enjoyable rifles to shoot. I really like shooting that gun, and I don't shoot it very often, but I do shoot it. 223 DMR, I'm good, man. How are you doing? John Wanks, what's going on with you today? How are you doing? If you guys are interested, I talked about the night match. I did post a video shortly before I posted this. So, good choices. Which is the one above the red one? That's a checkmate. So, the one above the purple and the one above the red and black one are both CZ checkmates. So, they're open division race guns. They shoot 9mm major. John Wanks, I need more ooey gooey details on your TSO2. 223 DMR, John Wanks picked up a Tactical Sport Orange 2. So, thought so. I like the right one. What's your best run? I'm not sure what you mean by the best run. So, I'm okay feeling a little under the weather today. Yeah, I'm pretty tired and sore. I shouldn't be. What don't do time attacks? No, it's everything we shoot's a timed event, but it's there's movement. You're not just like standing and shooting at a plate rack. We do shoot steel challenge.
Yeah.
And I guess if you really wanted to know, I would have to go and look it up, which would take a little bit. But I'm not a great steel challenge shooter. I can do it respectfully. I get all my hits, but it just depends on what we're doing. Ron Wang, M1A Springfield. Yep, M1A Springfield Scout Squad. I love that rifle. It's an 18-inch with a rifle-linked gas system. It's got national match sights and a national match trigger. The background, that's my son. That's my middle son. No worries, who's the background? I just never done movement shooting yet. Always steel paper. Yeah, so everything, all the games we play is all movement. So we have a variety on videos on our channel in the winter. There's stuff that I post in there just to get views and keep the channel alive. But there's a ton of match footage. If you want to see a lot of match footage on the channel, go back about 2 months, a month and a half worth of footage, and every weekend we're shooting a match. Some type of match. It could be a rifle match, it could be an action pistol match, it could be a 2-gun match, it could be a whole big variety of stuff. Knew you to Outcast. Drive your brother-in-law's truck 223 Chevy and can cheer up. There you go. How much, sir? How much for which one? I mean, I think what's up here is probably what, 25-ish?
Yeah.
There's probably about 25, 28K out. So not a lot. I've had lives where we've had significantly more dollar-wise up. I've had lives where we've had a lot less. But yeah, that's what it is. Y'all be sure, if you wouldn't mind, double tapping that screen. Help me get these likes up on the live. It really helps stuff out. Love watching you and the family shoot. Yeah, dude, it's fun. I have a blast with it. I'm not saying I'm the best guy out there. I'm not saying I'm the fastest. But people respect me, and I've beat the best guys out there. I usually am towards the upper end of the final scores, somewhere between 20 and 15, 20 and 10. So I'm not winning. I'm winning stages sometimes, but I'm not winning entire matches. I'm gonna check out your page. I'm looking for at the Glock 19 VC and G40. So don't buy the VC. They're coming out with the Glock Gen 6. I was watching videos on it this morning. That is the ticket. They changed the grip angle, or not the grip angle, the grip profile. They rounded it. It's got some real nice aggressive texturing on it. It's got an integrated beaver tail, so no more changing your back straps. A little bit better cocking serrations in the front. Yeah, I'm gonna be picking one of them up too. I like that. I like the. I'm gonna get the 47. They changed the extractor so you can mount the optic a little lower. You know, the lower you can mount a red dot on a pistol, the easier and faster it is to shoot. The more natural it is. Hello, in all seriously, hope you feel better soon. 223. Absolutely. Can you give advice on upgrades on a CZ Shadow 2, or is it no? We're good. So, like on my CZ Shadow 2, I'll start with this. Out of all the CZs I own, that's the one I shoot the least. Not because I don't like it, not because it's not a great gun, because it sits in a weird spot for me. If I'm shooting the divisions, that gun is legal. I have other things I shoot in that division, but it's a great shooting gun. Get a Cajun Gunworks or a CZ Custom barrel bushing. That helps a lot with flyers and accuracy. Your group sizes will tighten up, and your flyers will almost go away. Um, I changed the front fiber optic from the red to the green. That helps a lot, especially indoors. It's really fast to pick up. I changed the magazine release. I'm left-handed, so I release a magazine with my trigger finger. So I put a lighter magazine spring in there. Dropped the recoil spring from 14 to 13, maybe 12. And then whatever you want to do for your trigger weight, you can change the trigger spring, trigger return spring will lighten it up. You can change your mainspring and lighten up your double action that way. So I don't know if that answers your question, but the first thing I would tell somebody is to change the barrel bushing. Thank you, Rob. My sinuses are really kicking my ass today. My head feels like is about to explode. Yeah, it's wintertime, man. There's a lot of people are sick. You know, it's kind of the way it is. It's unfortunate, um, and it's also, I mean, it's really starting to be flu season too. That stuff's going to start really kicking in nice. Burrito 95, thank you, man. I appreciate it. No good, man. I wish you luck. My throat seems sore today for some reason, so I might end up in the same spot. Yeah. You from up north? I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm not sure you call that up north, but I guess it probably is. You know, the UP is above us, Upper Peninsula of Michigan, but yeah, we're up north. Yeah, I just got the Shadow 2 optics ready, thinking of getting the SRO on it and some lock grips. Yeah, the lock grips are great. Um, I'm not sure which ones you're looking at, but for carry optics, if you shoot competitive, there's weight limits, so you probably can't get the brass ones. I'm not sure though. On my Checkmate, the one on the left, I have lock grips on there, the grid locks, and the Magwell, so they're the solid heavy brass. And then have the medium palm swell. I really like the medium palm swell grips on CZs. It gives you a little bit more to hold on to. Yeah, LL, I knew you had an accent up there. I'm from Michigan. Yeah, a lot of people say that. We do. You know, I hear my voice on videos and stuff. And yeah, I definitely have a Wisconsin accent. Um, I don't think it's as bad as like the Minnesota accent. I'm not talking shit about my Minnesota friends, but especially like the northern Minnesota guys, they have almost sounds like a Canadian accent sometimes. But well, Campbell's had the big issue going around. There you go. I hear you, Rob. I have some homemade soup from last night. There you go. Perfect. I was thinking Canada at first. No, Wisconsin. I'm kind of in the central part of Wisconsin. Wish I could get the orange bushing system on the Shadow 2. That would be awesome. Yeah, so you can send in the Shadow 2 to CZ Customs, and they can change the barrel bushing. That is an upgrade you can have done. You just have to send the gun to CZ Custom, and they'll take care of it. I don't think it's a crazy expensive thing. You know, probably $300, $400, $500, but not out of reach. Striker, how are you doing, man? Hope you're doing good. Booty Bennett, how are you doing, man? How's your day going? I hope you're having a great day. You guys be sure to do me a favor and double tap that screen for me. Putting the likes on the lives really helps the lives. So we share the firearms just to get a conversation going and talk about firearms. Definitely not like trying to flex or any, but you know, um, you like the Derringer. That's not really a Derringer up there. It's a North American Arms 22 long rifle, 5-shot revolver. Why do you have two oranges? I actually have three oranges. I have two Tactical Sport Orange 2 oranges and one Tactical Sport 1 orange. The twos, the Tactical Sport Orange 2s, one is in 9mm and one is in 40. So depending on what game we're playing, the 40 is scored differently than 9mm. They kind of score in your favor because you're using a larger caliber. So depending on what game we're playing and what division we're playing with, that's why there's two. Gold Wilson Combat. No, the gold one's a Gerson MC Deluxe. It's a titanium nitrate, but it looks gold. It's got a bunch of engraving in it, so it's a cool gun. When I want to feel extra broke, I come to your live streams. Yeah, I feel broke looking at the shit too. I'm glad my wife doesn't watch the streams. Um, yeah, it's an M1A Scout Squad, so it's the 18-inch barrel. Rifle link gas system, national match front and rear sights, and then national match trigger. Super nice gun. Really, really pleasurable to shoot. It's actually, I don't, when I go take people shooting, I usually don't bring that. I'm kind of selfish with that one. That's mine. That one's for me. You know, my son gets to shoot it a little once in a while, but not a lot. Mason, how are you doing, man? I hope your day is going good. I imagine you're probably feeding cows. Good, just getting things ready for ice fishing for my winter stages next month. There you go. That's all right. M1A, yep, it's 308. Like I said, I like that gun. I have an optic I could put on a scout optic, but I don't. I mean, I can hit 300-400 yards on silhouettes without trying. I mean, offhand shooting that, I can hit that. I don't think we went past 400 with it, but that's okay. I'm asking for an EOTech 512 for Christmas, a used one. I'm going to put it on my Evo Scorpion. I have an Evo Scorpion. I love that rifle. That's another one that I really, really like. Man, if it was still 30-06. None of the M1As were 30-06. Them are all 308. And now they have some in 6.5 Creedmoor. I want to get Scorpion. Yeah, if you have a Scorpion riff-raff, and I think you do, we've talked about it, but get the Ascalon plus 125% recoil spring. That's perfect in the gun. It makes that thing just a shooter and a half. What's your goal for the channel? Is it really based on the conversation, or is the conversation for monetization? Both. So we share the shooting sports we do with the hopes and expectations that we can encourage people to get out there and try it. A lot of people that like to go just bust rounds off are competition shooters just waiting. So we really help and force people to try and get into the competition end of it. I could rattle off a bunch of people, but one you probably know most is Ammo Alchemist. You know, I helped him get going. I helped him find his matches. I walked him through his gear. You know, so that's the goal, is to share the shooting sports. Now, like you're asking about monetization, yes, I want the channel monetized. Why is that a priority or a concern? Because it lets us do what we're doing for less money. So we can shoot more for less. So if we're able to shoot more for less, we're able to put out more content, and we're able to reach newer shooters and newer viewers. Maybe somebody like yourself, oh man, I'm not good enough. Okay, here's my daughter, 11 years old, and she's out there shooting competition. She's not great. She misses lots of stuff. Lots. That was a really deep question, Rob. Yeah. So that's the goal for the channel, is to be able to do what we do for less money, and then to be able to bring the shooting sports to a lot of people, to show, PCSL 2-gun matches, show rifle matches, show action pistol, action pistol where you're using a pistol caliber carbine and them types of things. And then to show different experiences. If my daughter can do it, my middle son does it, I'm an old fat white guy and I do it. You know what I mean? So how do you fit into that kind of cookie cutters example there? you know. So try to help people out that. And I don't know where you're located, but like um, there's matches, but usually within an hour drive of everybody, and a drive for an hour. It's not that bad to go to a match, but it absolutely is some of the most fun you'll ever have. Katrina, how much? How much for what? Um, Make sure you don't get surgery. My grandpa got it for his hip and back now. He's suing the doctors uh, surgery because they paralyzed him. Yep, that sucks big time. Or that doctor has good reviews. There you go. I appreciate the honesty. I personally don't see anything wrong with making some money as long as people are honest and not misleading for the final. Yeah, I'm not dishonest about it. I have no reason to. To be able to do what we do for less money or no money. That's it. To continue the shooting journey for my kids, myself. What's a good 40 high hollow point round? HST, Spear Gold Dot. Um, Remember probably the two off the top of my head that I would say are probably the better ones. Yeah, the Hornady Critical Defense, they do okay, but what I don't like about Hornady Critical Defense is they don't crimp the bullet. So like the other two, they actually crimp the bullet so you don't get set back when you're chambered multiple times with the same round. Yeah, let's get these lives up, man. I'll appreciate your help with that. Um, like I said, check out the footage. If you're curious about the shooting we do, go back and watch the channel. Um, it's winter season. We stopped shooting outdoors in October, so I did have a night match in November. But Effie, you ever messed with any Turkish? No, I haven't. I have no experience with any of the Turkish shotguns. So 146 9mm. There you go. Underwood makes good ammo too. I've just never used them. Um, so boss, the Shadow 2 is a great gun. It's accurate. It's reliable. It shoots nice. It points nice, and I shoot it well. But I don't shoot it very often because I shoot other guns instead of that. But if you're asking me, do I think if you purchased a Shadow 2, would like it? Absolutely. Shadow 2 is more gun than most people really need. It's a great shooting gun. Um, it's not CZ's flagship gun, but you'll see in matches more CZ Shadow 2s than just about anything. You know, on a squad of 12 people, there's always 2 or 3 people running a Shadow 2. So that really speaks a lot. Um, yeah, so that's how I feel about that. Uh, do you like Glock clones? Remember Dagger, DCT, um, SARS? I have no experience with SARS or DCT. I think maybe you're thinking SCT. Uh, I've used SCT parts. The Dagger we have, and we had a really bad experience with it. And it was a barrel that was out of spec, and we tried contacting Palmetto State, and they just blew us off. The RXM is a good gun. I do have a Shadow system, which is a Glock clone. That gun I really, really like. I really like the Shadow system. Um, Georgian, how are you doing? Stop supporting CZ for what they did in Canada. People really get on them for that, but somebody had to do it. Somebody was going to destroy them guns, and they had to be a firearms manufacturer or dealer. So they took the contract. From CZ's point, yes, it sucked to destroy guns that were surrendered. I mean, they weren't out there taking them. These guns were surrendered willingly, and they took the contract for revenue. I mean, you can't blame a company for making money. You just can't, you know. I mean, if we did that, we could be like, hey, all cops are bastards. So any of these companies that support law enforcement in any way, I'm not dealing with them, right? Or, hey, these companies were from Germany during the war time and they had, Jewish slave labor. I'm never supporting that company. We don't do that. So I really like the look of them. Thank you. Yeah, dude, you would not be disappointed with the Shadow 2. I'll say that. You wouldn't be disappointed with it. The Shadow 2 out of the box is a great gun. The double action's a little heavy. The single action breaks. Ours broke at exactly 3 pounds out of the box in single action. For most people, that's light. Plenty light. And it's virtually in single action. There's zero take up and ultra short reset. But great guns, they last forever. They don't break. They shoot good. So yeah, I couldn't tell you. All I know is a 50 pack of Underwood 40s are like $20 off website. Yeah, you got a Glock 40? I do. I got a Glock 22. I don't think it's out here, is it?
Uh,
But no, we have a Gen 1 Glock 22. The Shadow 2 is for sports only, range toy. Make sure you know that before you get one. If you're going to look down on a gun manufacturer, look down on Block. They're the ones that folded under pressure. They did to a point, but again, they're a business to sell guns, you know? And the way they were doing that is they can either fold and stay in business, or they can dig in and go out of business. Or what would have probably happened is they would have lost their ability to sell guns in the United States, in the North American market. And ultimately too, can you blame a company for wanting to stay in business? You know, keep their employees employed? I, I, I don't think that's that way, you know. And I don't know if you guys probably aren't old enough to know the assault weapons ban, but a company that conforms stays in business, and they can come back later with other things, because all that shit's going to be ruled unconstitutional. G40 really snappy good gun. Yeah, they are. So a little more expensive to shoot if you want to shoot a lot, but you know, bro got all the CZs. Yeah, I got a bunch. Stay dangerous. How are you doing, man? Hope your day's going great. I'm all about saving money, but do have principles. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I look at it a little different. You know, we could look at all these automobile manufacturers that change things to comply with government overreach. Can't blame them, right? So, Chris, how are you doing? Hope you're doing great. You can pin that for him. You able to?
which?
Oh,
Oh, I see it now.
let's see. I don't blame Glock the V. They were discontinuing the Gen 3 and needed a replacement to keep selling the Band 6. Yeah, I'm not mad about it. You know, they already have Glock switches for them. So what are they gonna say? Oh, we have to change our design again? No, we already complied. You know, I mean, so how about to buy an FS car? There you go. That's a bucket list gun. Amen NT. That's my boat right now. Absolutely. Hanging in there, enjoying your content. Hey man, I appreciate it. We posted a stage from the night match last night, so I did pretty good in that. The gun I started with, I had problems with it on first two stages. Clearly, it didn't like being cold. I switched guns after that, and killed the match. But this card got discontinued. They have a Gen 2 coming in a month. Do they? So companies do that. It's just what it is, you know. Got to remember, you know, these companies aren't giving products away. They're in business to make money, you know. So sometimes things happen. Do I have a 308 Scar? No, I do not. Do you like, or do you think a Ruger 380 LCP Max Good is? I think there's a lot of things that work against the LCPs. Trigger and size of the firearm are probably the two biggest. I would say in your home, you definitely can get away with a full-size firearm. So bigger is better. Bigger, you can shoot it more accurately and shoot it faster. I'm not saying you need a 50 cal, you know, Desert Eagle or something, but you know, 9mm 40, 357 SIG, 10mm 45, but a full-size handgun for home defense. I watched it, perfect. I'll post some more. I'll post the other stages coming up. Hip Hop, how are you doing? I appreciate you stopping in the comments here. So I'm waiting for a few boxes to come in. There you go. If criminals want fully auto weapons, they're gonna find ways. If it wasn't switches, it was gonna be something else. Absolutely. You know, that's the thing when you're breaking the law. You're breaking the law. You don't care. So they dropped the Gen 6 Glock right after they dropped the V. Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to buy one of them. I want the 47. I like it. I like the improvements they made. Other than the factory comp, which is what I want to see in one of them. Uh, they did what I asked for. I wanted improved grain, improved grip with some better texture, and um, they changed the extractor to a different style so they can mount the optic a little bit lower. Essentially, the things I wanted from Glock, they did. So that makes me want to buy one to support that company. I like the full size ones. Yeah, I do. New vehicles are way overpriced, way too intrusive, and probably the worst investment the average person makes. I agree with that too. I don't think vehicles, unless you're buying something high ended, can be considered an investment. That's just, way too ridiculous. I think I need a full size. The 23 keeps side biting me. Yeah. Um, so you probably just need to put a back strap on a different beaver tail. That's another thing that the Glock 6 has is they have the built-in beaver tail, so you no longer have the back strap inserts, or I guess it wasn't an insert, it was more like a clamshell, which I like. That's another thing I wanted from Glock. So I got to shoot an alien next to a Staccato P in a Beretta 92 course. So I'm really impressed with the Beretta, smooth and very low recoil. I preferred it over the other two for $1,200. I'm impressed. Yeah, I haven't shot one yet, but we did look at them, and it's a nice gun. Being left-handed though, it's still, for me, it's not something I would buy. The trigger transfer bar is not great being left-handed. It really kind of messes you up. But both my sons love Berettas and the Beretta clone and stuff. So my buddy's getting a 92 FX. Yeah. So again, I mean, they're great guns. They The one negative thing I will say about them is the way they have their barrel lock up, and then the fact that the barrel's essentially free floating in the slide. It does hurt the accuracy a little bit. Years ago when I first got into shooting, I had a Taurus. It was a PT99. It was a Beretta clone, and I sent it out to a machine shop, and I had them groove two O-rings or two grooves in it where I could install O-rings like HK does, and I installed two rubber O-rings in that barrel, and that thing shot lights out. Took the gun from horrible, didn't want to use it, to, man, it was a tack driver. Great upgrade, and Beretta could do that just like H&K does. So the optic height though, yeah, they sit high. That's it's just what it is. Arizona Kid, how are you doing, man? I appreciate you stopping in. I gotta jump on your channel here when I'm done. I'm sure you got your stuff posted for the day. But yeah, my buddy's got a Brazilian PT 101, the hammer fired 45 ACP. There you go. That'd be a badass gun. Yeah, I wish, like I said, I wish that these companies, they would do that, or even just put a barrel bushing in them. It would improve the accuracy of them, but they've never been forced to do that. All somebody would have to do is say, hey, we want this gun to be more accurate, and this is what we want you to do. But for most people, they're good. The 92 XI is the same price as a MOS Glock right now. There you go. I do think that Glocks are extremely overpriced. I don't think there's any Glock out there that should be more than $500. That's the truth. How do you buy your guns? I go to the gun store and I pay for them. Palmetto might as well start making all the models, discontinued models. I need a PSA G30 and a Glock 26X. Glock will be coming out with everything. It's just, you have production restraints, right? So you can only produce so much at a time. I don't care for the help ups, but I love Zostafas. I got a few Zostavan firearms. I have a P, or not a P. Give me a second. It's a ZPAP 85, so it's the 223 version, 5.56, and then I have a Yugo underfolder. Appreciate you, FE, just dropped in. Say hi, gotta head out. All right, man. I appreciate you stopping in Arizona. I hope you have a good day. PSA cheaper though? Yeah, PSA is cheaper in every aspect. Like I said, my experience, when the daggers first came out, It was a real attractive price. I'm like, hey, I'll try it. And the rifle sucked, or the pistol sucked. The barrel was out of spec. I contacted the company a dozen different times, and they blew me off. So you blow me off when I have an issue with a brand new gun. Um, for me, that means I'm never going to do business with them. I tried. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and the deal went bad. So it is what it is. The accuracy was fine for me. Once you get good enough at shooting it, it doesn't really matter what you shoot. I'd rather have a better trigger and a gun I enjoy shooting. Yeah, so um, you're paying for the brand. Glock shouldn't be the no, they shouldn't. But you, on everything, you're paying for a brand. You know, most firearms are all manufactured the same way. Some are heavier, some are lighter. But realistically, to buy a gun that's $500, $1,000, $2,000 or more, that's kind of You know what I mean? You are buying the name, you are buying the reputation behind it. So yep, just like Gucci or Nike or Adidas or anything else, right? PSA isn't making ammo anymore. No more powder or primers. Um, I never saw any of their powder or primers on the commercial market, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. In this case, Glock Staccato in 2011. Yeah, absolutely. What's the most expensive one on the table today? It would still be the Checkmates. Them are the two most expensive handguns I own. Um, First on the left, the purple one, I assume. That's a Ruger 2245 Light. It was a Lipsy Special. AAC ammo is PSA. Yep, I've never used AAC ammo. So I don't buy a lot of factory ammunition. Like, obviously, rimfire ammunition's factory. We generally have some factory ammunition with us for pistol matches, but we don't shoot it unless something's like seriously wrong. Um, but most of our stuff is all my manufactured. So those Checkmates are badass. I really do enjoy CZs and HKs. Yeah, both good options. I'll give people shit when they have HKs just to give them a hard time. But HK makes great firearms. So you can't say nothing really bad about that. They don't like civilian market. The company is kind of orientated. They want to sell guns to military and law enforcement, but they're kind of forced to sell things to a civilian market. Um, just because a lot of people, military or service, um, or law enforcement, they want to be able to have the guns that they had when they were um, on duty or active duty. I like the HK VP9. Yeah, that's a great gun. I don't think anybody can complain about the VP9. Um, I should buy one at some point, and who knows? I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. I just, like you see on the table, I stick with certain groups of guns because it's easier to get good with them when you have the same grip angles, uh, similar holsters, or cross compatible for magazines. So you buy a gun and you don't have to have 15 magazines from 15 different guns. You buy CZ Shadow 2. Well, I have the same mags that came with another half dozen guns, so it makes it a little better. Do you have a Class 3 license? No, I do not have a Class 3 license. Are police trade-ins any good? Are there some cool features that are on them? Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes they'll put like the department name on them. So you might buy a gun and it'll have a sheriff's department or border patrol or any number of stampings on it. Generally, most law enforcement guns, they are carried a lot. Obviously, right? They're carried every day, but they're used very little. You know, um, so yeah, always broken in. So you're not going to have issues generally, and you're saving a lot of money. Um, that's a great way for people to get an affordable firearm. So you can buy like a police trade-in Glock for the same price that you could buy a PSA Dagger. I would tell you to buy the police trade-in Glock. You're getting a better gun for the money. Yeah, saving an easy 300. Yeah, no brainer. I've seen some that have come with Safariland holsters. Usually they'll come with a few extra megs instead of 1 meg or 2 megs. They'll come with 3, 4, 5 megs, because it's whatever was issued, and they take that and they sell it. You know, um, so there's I don't see anything wrong with that. Yeah, I noticed you have a lot of us of certain brands. Absolutely, that's why. So most of the guns we use, I have backups to it. Um, like I'm sorry, the checkmates. I have a backup checkmate because when you're traveling and shooting, you want a backup gun. You know, two TSOs. Uh, you know, that's why I have doubles of a lot of shit is just to have a backup gun. Um, do you have a 300 Win Mag? No, I have a 300 Short Mag though. 300 Short Mag is pretty badass. So it's you get the short action, but you're getting the same performance. I've been on a bucket list to get all Glock models. There you go. That's I know a few people that like they collect Glocks. It's a little bit of a weird collection, but they get some really cool stuff, and they have like countless law enforcement models with different state, county agencies, federal agencies, some South American agencies from Argentina, ones from Chile, you know. So you can definitely collect stuff. There's oddities out there that are kind of cool. Yep, my duty gun only gets shot at the range for qualifications. Yeah, that's Now the funny thing is like we see a lot of law enforcement at USPSA matches, not IDPA or hit factor so much, but at USPSA, and a lot of these guys they run their duty gun and they run their duty belts. So great practice for them. Most of them are okay. Some of them are great, but yeah, that's the stuff I want to get into. Yeah, so you just gotta watch stuff. So that's why I wanted the Glock 19 VC USA model. Yeah, so I don't think that gun will be out very much. Um, the fact that what's weird is the fact that they were obviously in development of the Gen 6 at the same time. I think what was holding them back was the frames because the slides pretty much look the same, don't they? From what I was recalling. So maybe they just wanted to get things out so they didn't get taken off the roster. I was watching an interview with Shadow Systems, and they said that where California demanded changes to the firearm, if you were already an existing company that was on the roster, you could make changes to the fire control group and not have to go through a reapproval process. So had they not put them guns out to stay on the roster, they would have had to resubmit everything and do all that. The V is to replace Gen 3 guns in banned states. Yep, and that's my understanding because the Gen 3 guns were approved on the roster, and because of the trigger group and slide modifications, they were able to stay in that without being reapproved. I run my duty belt at the range. I carry a full-size M&P 2.0 duty. I might switch to the Glock 17 Gen 6. I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch to the 47. I'm definitely going to pick up a 47. It uses the recoil system, so a short guide rod and spring from a Glock 19. So the gun will cycle faster. That's what I want to do. But for me, I already have 17, so but I want to get a 47. Has nothing to do with the sales of the 6. Yeah. So Glock 43 thoughts. Glock 43X with a Radian ramjet, absolutely all day. Just a Glock 43 or a 43X, not at all. I don't like the M&Ps. The newer full steel 2.0s are nice, trigger upgrade, but other than that, I don't know. We're starting to see a lot of people run the M&Ps. Like I said, they shoot well. You don't see too many people having problems. I know I saw Glock 43 and I responded to both. I said the Glock 43 or 43X in stock configuration. Glock 43X with the ramjet, yeah, but that would say the 43X is kind of an oddball out. So, Logan, I'm a Smith fan. There you go. New old recoil springs. Yep, they're single spring recoil springs. Like Gen 3 will be smoother than the 5s. Absolutely. I do not like the dual recoil systems. And in fact, my Gen 4 Glocks, have all been switched over to a Gen 3 style spring. Um, so, bloody hellmate, you expecting trouble? No, not at all. Opinion on the Gen 3 Glock? The Gen 3 Glock 17, um, that was my go to gun for forever. It's the one on the top right side. It's got a camo paint job. It's dark coat. But I shot that gun for years. I still shoot it once in a while. It's a nice gun. It ran forever. You know, I wore out 5 barrels in it. Um, I can't do slim lines. I think that's why I don't like the 1911 looking guns. Probably. You want stuff to be able to really get a good grip on. Should I run a sight on my Ruger Mark IV? An optic? If yeah, it makes it easier for people. Dylan, how are you doing, man? Hope you're having a great day. Um, Janet Gaiman, how are you doing? 223, if you drink tea, try some Bigelow brand mint medley tea. It can open you up. Also, food and real garlic or real honey might help. There you go. Where do you get the colored barrel for the Mark IV? So that came from Ruger themselves. That was a Lipsy special. They do sell them. They sell them in just about every color and configuration you could think of. But I bought that for my daughter. She picked it out and I bought it. I found a 5.56 ARP for $200. Looked like a grease gun. There you go. Um, Looked expensive. The purple one, no, it was 700, so it wasn't. It was a little bit more, but it came with the rail and the dot on it, which the dot sucks. Um, I should have went with the cheaper model that had the iron sights built into it too. That one doesn't have any iron sights. I paid more for less. So I wish it had iron sights. And I knew it when I bought it, but I thought if I wanted to, I could install it. And the front is not machined or drilled and tapped for a front sight. So, you got a nice collection, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Lakeline has good barrels. I'm not familiar with Lakeline at all. Yeah, I'll be sure to double tap for me if you would. So I bought a Radical brand ARP. It jams every couple of other rounds. Does it need breaking in? It's new, or is it just cheap crap? I don't know without seeing the gun in person and checking it out. I really don't know. If you're having issues, I don't know how many rounds you have through it. How many rounds have you put through it now? And have you tried a variety of ammunition? Have we tried FRTs in a Glock yet, boys? No, I haven't. I was talking with my sons about them last night because I have Glocks we don't use anymore. Uh, I'm not ruling that out in the future. Jake 50/50. I'm from the UK. If I had just one of them, I'd get 5 years in jail. Absolutely. That sucks for you guys too. It's too bad that you can't have firearms. I had a Radical Micro 5-inch, and that was Jam City. I went through 150 bullets and mags. Sometimes it's a quality issue. Yeah, sometimes. But I think they're pretty decent about, at least they say they look at them. But definitely contact the company and get it sent back to them. They'll usually let you ship it to them for no cost. They'll send a call tag. So I have a Wise Arms AR-15. I'm not familiar with Wise Arms. Have you heard of Bear Creek Arsenal? Well, I bought their ARP2 at Jams. Yes, I have heard of Bear Creek Arsenal, and you telling me it jams is not a surprise. Lakeline has amazing barrels. Check them out. I put a Lakeline ported barrel in my G3C. Took a lot of the snap out of it. Yeah, anytime you add ports or a comp, it definitely tames them down quite a bit. I think I prefer comps over ports because it doesn't mess with your velocity. Pay the Snuckle, how are you doing, man? It's good to see you. How are you, Ben? I appreciate you stopping in. Yeah, I haven't heard Bear Creek or Wise Arms. Yeah, I'm familiar with Bear Creek, but I'm not familiar with Wise Arms. It might, it might, but I don't know. Like I said, without seeing it, I don't know. Usually, if you have 100 rounds through an AR-15 and it's having issues, it's going to keep having issues. There's a lot of things that could be. Um, the gas block could be misaligned, so you're not getting full gas out of it. Uh, you could have poor gas rings on it because they use cheap parts. It could be a staking issue. It could be a gas tube issue. It could be a barrel extension issue. Um, it could be easily that the mag well was broached incorrectly and it's sitting off to one side or another, a little twisted. That's happened. I've seen that. So I'm sick of sneezing and this headache. Yeah, it sucks, man. I hope you start feeling better. So FV knows his shit. Listen to him. Well, I lie a lot. I just make it up as I go along. Well, I think Bear Creek pistols are good. Glock clones. Yeah, I haven't played with any. I think it's hard, and this is maybe an issue I have with like PSA and their gun having issues. I think it's pretty hard to fuck up a Glock clone. You're copying a gun. Just have to copy it. That's it. Just copy it. Now just get the Glock or the RXM. Mason has an RXM. I had the opportunity to shoot it, and it was okay. You know, it was okay. The sights are like a typical Glock or Glock pattern pistol. They were large. I didn't shoot the gun very well, but I wasn't used to the gun. You know, it's a platform that I don't use a whole lot. Please trade in for Glocks, RXM, good clone. I agree with that. So I think the trade-in Glocks are probably one of the most slept-on things on the market. You know, if people get weird because you get a Glock and it's a little beat up or scratched up or whatever, it has holster wear. That's not a bad thing. That's okay. You know, that you're gonna do the same thing to it, right? Thoughts on the micro Hellcat? I've never seen the micro Hellcat, so I have no experience with that. I want the Orange Boy CZ so bad. Yeah, they're badass. John Winks just picked up an orange. I don't know if you go to his channel or not, but check out John Winks. He just picked up a TSO2. He texted me from the range. He's like, "You were right about everything. This is badass." So that's good that he liked it. I was concerned because it's a large gun. I haven't heard anything about FNs here. We don't like them. My bud got a 509 TAC and a 49 hammer. The FNs are good. The FNXs are they're good guns. Nothing wrong with them at all. Oh yeah, but yep. Micro Hellcat trash. Replace the guide rod on the Glock. Yep. Usually drop it down on a full size. You can drop it down a couple pounds on the spring and it makes it much more shootable. Micro trash. Trade and get the Pro. FE, you need an Alpha Foxtrot Romulus. No, John, I don't need an Alpha Foxtrot Romulus. Like you said, you know, I don't know. I wanted one in the worst way, and I started reading reviews on them and accuracy and group sizes, and it kind of lost some of its appeal. But tungsten steel, baby, there you go. I don't get why people like Glock clones. Who wants a cheaper made knockoff? Yeah, I mean, but then again, too, budgets have a lot to come in. I love that FN 5.7. Thoughts on the DPMS Kitty's kind of a badass gun. I wanted one years ago when DPMS was still in Minnesota and making them, and now they're making them again. It's kind of a cool gun. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I like the fact that it's a fixed carrying handle with a iron sight post on it. They post. You know, after January here when we can do SPRs and no charge, that's kind of a badass gun to get, honestly. Why did y'all get George Floyd for Christmas? I don't know. What did you get George Floyd for Christmas? I'm hoping that's a joke there. They use a good joke. Oh, really? PSA kind of owns. Yeah, they bought DPMS. So I have a Rock 5.7, good gun. I've never shot any of the Rock 5.7s, but I don't think we've ever heard anybody talk poorly about them either. Proud of the Gen 6 improvement? Yeah, I am. I think they stepped it up the way I wanted them to. So I will be purchasing a 47 here in the near future. Definitely want one now. Um, Little Meg, can y'all carry? Can y'all see it? Uh, how are those 22 Bertas? I don't know. The two on the bottom are both Rugers, and the only other 22 on the table is that little mini revolver. 40 operator. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Case double Audis. Um, Anything can jam. I have no idea. So they don't make the TSO2 optic ready, do they? No, they don't. So the TSO2, you got to figure these are guns designed for specific divisions in competition, and IPSC and USPSA and hit factor. So you can put an optic on it. You can send them out and get them milled. Um, but you have to get a plate if you want to put it on. So for me, I'm not going to modify that gun because they're already collectors. I mean, there's people that want to buy them. I was offered a good markup on my TSO2, but I'm not going to sell them. When does Gen 6 release to stores? I don't know. I would imagine like any day. So if there's videos out there, they're probably being shipped or already have been shipped. No FCU, lost all my interest. Yeah, I mean, some people, that was a big thing. I expected to see a fire control unit, but they didn't. Eventually, Jack Slate's. The Gen 6 improvement is fired. Gen 45, I missed the rest of that comment. I spotted the 22s. What, hey, you paying attention? Not at all. I missed that comment. Yeah, I don't want to modify.
Gen 6 improvement is fire. Glock 45 Gen 6 on the way. I like the frame cuts and the barrel changes.
Maybe a 22 ARP is better for squirrels there. Probably. You ever shoot the SIG 210? No, I have not. I haven't had a chance to actually look at them and stuff. I repaired one years ago when I had my shop, but I never fired it and I didn't need to. But if you're upside down and rack, it is, the assembly falls apart. I'm not sure. 22 ARPs are fun. 22 rifles as a whole are a lot of fun, you know. 22 can be a lot of fun to play with. So we do shoot quite a bit of rimfire ourselves. The whole top end falls apart, but it could be pinned. What's the worst one you ever bought? PSA. The PSA Dagger is probably the shittiest gun I've ever bought. And I have bought, like back in the day, I bought the Jennings. I bought different shit. I can't remember what all the crap was, but I would say the PSA Dagger was probably the worst gun I ever bought. Thoughts on RAP Bullet? It's a gimmick. You know, it'll cause multiple wound cavities, but the wound cavities are not very deep. So you're better off with a good deep cavity hollow point. The worst is Taurus. There you go. The 22 ARP, I had no buffer tube, side charged, but look just like an AR. Yeah, a lot of them don't because they have, with the distance where your bolt carrier would be, that has the recoil assembly. They're almost like an AR 180 or something. It doesn't, tried it. 22 Rimmies, LOL PSA. Taurus isn't bad. High points, especially the modern high points, they're not bad either. They work. They do exactly what they're supposed to do. They run, and you can hit stuff with them. Now, with that being said, they come in at a discounted price for sure, and a budget-minded price point. And you're buying what you're buying. You're buying a big chunky brick. But if that's all a person could afford, I would tell them to buy that over a PSA. Runs Taurus Snowwell. There you go. Do you own any Canics or thoughts? I do not own any Canics. I have zero interest or intent to ever purchase a Canic. I'm not really a fan. They do have, most of them have really, really, really great triggers. And I'll give Canic that. They have great triggers. But as the gun itself, I don't know. I've shot them, and it didn't do anything for me at all. I didn't enjoy shooting them. It wasn't that they did anything better than another company. So, and that's just me. I'm not saying they're bad guns because they're not. You know, they come in at a great point. They have lots of options and features, and they have great triggers. That in itself is kind of rare to get a gun out of a box, especially a cheaper firearm and have a really good trigger. Um, Rival Canics are fire. The Medis are okay. Yeah, like I said, that's you know that's just my personal opinion. I don't care to have one. I have a TP9 Combat Elite as my first gun, and it's been great so far. There you go. Yeah, like I don't see people having issues with them when we see people shooting them. They're not having malfunctions or anything else. Um, the gun isn't falling apart. It's they got good finishes. It's just you know everybody feels things differently or holds things differently or has different experience. Um, so that's kind of how I feel about that. The Triggerman, yeah, they got incredible triggers. My buddy's first was the Elite in the green. Good gun. There you go. Canik is a shitty Walther clone. Yep, Walther is the daddy of Canik. Yeah, that's okay though. Um, I just say way too heavy. The Canics, yeah, they are like one of the ones that I my son and both we kind of wanted to shoot the Canik. Uh, is it the S Rival or their competition one? The stainless steel version, all metal. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was going to be. I was looking forward to shooting that gun. I thought it was going to be like, man, I got to buy this. And after we shot it, I was like, I'm glad I got to try it, but definitely not something I would buy.
Especially glad we got to try it before we bought it.
Yeah, especially glad we bought it. Um, I have a TP9 and Rival. There you go. What do you think about SAR 9? I have zero experience with the SAR 9. Um, None. So I've read on them. I've read the reviews. I've watched some videos. If I saw one in a local shop when I was in there, I'd probably pick one up because they're definitely affordable. I would get it just to try it, but I'm not gonna order it. You know, that's one of the things. Like I said, if we walk in a store and it's sitting there, I would pick it up just to try it. You've ran through 3. There you go.
Now we're in 7.
Where are we?
2185.
So, I guess we're probably gonna get off this live. We've been on it long enough. Um, if y'all would do me a solid though, double tap that screen. That would be really appreciated. Um, the SOCOM SAR compact is your next one. There you go. Do you have any tank folio witnesses? We do not. We do not have any tank folios, but they're great. I mean, they do things right on them. Um, they're accurate. They're reliable. They shoot great. Nope, no optics on the Shadow 2. We don't shoot that very much. So uh, the optics I shoot are on my checkmates or the DWX or one of the Glock type guns like the Shadow system or um, the Glock 17. So so if somebody invaded you, what are you choosing? If somebody's invaded me, that means they have armor, which would absolutely mean I'm shooting the Barrett. That's the one I'm shooting. If somebody, yep, can I have the 22 on the bottom right? Absolutely. That's a tandem cross build. They sponsored us with that. I bought the receiver, and I bought that from Volkorstren off their clearance site. So it was super cheap, but the whole gun is tandem cross, and that was all provided by them for us at no charge. Ammo, how are you doing, man? I do not have a Smith & Wesson 41. I've got to go burn these hamburger calories off, making good progress for summer races. Absolutely. A deep but murky subject. Um, no, the purple one is just a Ruger 2245 Light. I do have a Black Mamba, though. We didn't put it out here, but I do have a Volkorstren Black Mamba. That's I use my Black Mamba for Steel Challenge. So, super nice gun. Super nice gun. Most people don't know what it is. They think it's just another Ruger, but yeah, super nice gun. Yeah, they can be. You just have to use good parts, you know. So I would say generally you're probably better off building your ARP than buying it. So I was looking into getting one. Yeah, absolutely. Volquarstern is an incredible market. Um, you're never going to hear anything bad about Volquarstern pistols ever. Only thing bad I ever heard about any Volquarstern product was their 1022 receiver they were making. Um, and the customer had one, bought it on sale, and he had issues with tolerances on it. It was out of tolerance. PSA crank. There you go. A lot of people like them stuff. Is that a CZ75? I see. Yep, there's a bunch of CZs up there. Why is that optic tilted on which one? So on my checkmate on the left, it's an inverted mode. That's probably what you're seeing. It's inverted. But you see how close it is to the slide? That's the reason we invert them, is to get it absolutely on top of the slide. So there's virtually as low as any optic can possibly be.
Because you can see with the one right next to it what it would look like.
Yeah, the one on the right is the factory height on them, and they sit higher. So if you want a gun that you naturally can find, like you're coming up, you're used to iron sights, that's the ticket. But I'm gonna get off of here. AARP, CZ Supreme, absolutely 100% all day. Gentlemen, ladies, things, I appreciate you for coming in and hanging out with us. I appreciate the support you have. DPMS is nice though. I held it at pawn. Buy the DPMS. You won't be disappointed with that. I mean, you might be, right? It's a PSA product, but you'll like it. It's good. It's a good gun. So I'll catch you all another time.